Hey YouTube, how are we doing? Hope everyone is all right. I have been working on instrument cluster swap on my 1996 on the Civic Coupe. It's 1.6, and this is the cluster that comes with the car. As you can see, it's extremely clean. No problems with it. But I was swapping it for a better one. This one comes in 2004, 2005 on a Civic. I'll show the pictures. This one has them blue dials on it and looks extremely beautiful. But the difference between these two is that 1996 Honda Civic that uses negative, or I would say ground signals, and this one is like semi-electronic. This one has a multiplex in the car, and many of these functions that you have seen me wired in manually, these won't work with your OEM wiring on the 1996 Civic EK for that matter, and pretty much on the older Civics as well. So, like this wire, honestly, let's start from the left. These are parking, reverse neutral. These you can use with your original wiring, and I will be attaching all the wiring diagrams that I have traced for this model and for the original 1996 harness as well, so that you know what goes where exactly, because I have been spending a lot of days on this and all the information on the forums and videos is all incomplete. People just do their work, they succeed or they don't, and then just leave it in the middle. People like you and me are then just baffled, and anyway, the hard part is done. This is the blue light for your high beam. One of the sides, this is SMD, surface mount diode. So this is a small LED. Excuse me. As you can see, if you can, it has a small cut in the bottom, and this side is your cathode or negative. Excuse my finger, I'll be using the screwdriver, sorry about that. So this side is your negative and that side is your positive. So you need to solder these two wires and then mark them, and HP positive and HP negative. That's what I have done. All of these gear indicators on a 1996 Honda Civic, they work on a ground. It's like when you select a gear, through the wiring harness you get a ground. So what we have done is we have soldered wires onto the negative side of the LEDs. So whenever you select a gear, this is drive 3, 2 and 1. So whenever you select a gear, you get a ground, and I have marked these wires respectively. These will go to your original 1996 harness. So whenever a ground comes for that specific gear, it will light up your indication on the dial. And this one is for generator, I think, for your alternator. Yeah, so this is on the negative side as well. As I told you, 1996 generation, this Civic sends out grounds mostly for your indicator. You don't get a live, you get a ground. So that's a manual ground. On the other side, this is more tricky. This is where the fun begins and the people can't sort stuff out. This is your gauge for your engine coolant temperature, and here is your fuel level motor that I have just desoldered to show you what you need to do, because your temperature and your fuel level sensor, they just won't work. Your RPM and your speed will work with the original wires that we have marked, and I'll show you later. And now for this, what you need to do, this is your light, and this light, if I'm not wrong, this is for your parking brake. Excuse me for my camera. This is for your parking brake. What you need to do here is you need to desolder the negative side of the LED from the board so that it lifts up. Because the problem is this light keeps running all the time on this Civic and gets a feed from the ECU when you have your handbrake down and sends a signal through the CPU or the multiplex in this case and turns the light off. But on the 1996 Honda Civic you get a ground, and when you get a ground this light turns off. So if you have a ground from the PCB and a ground from the car, it just won't work. Excuse me. So what you need to do is desolder it on the negative side fully, get some hot glue underneath so that it won't touch it again, and then solder your ground wire just like your gear indicators. And I've passed it through here so that it will go out. I think you must be with me until now. I know it's a lot to absorb, but let's get on with it. So what you need to do for your coolant and your fuel side, you need to desolder the motor. The problem is majority of the forums will tell you wire directly to cluster. Now what that means is just you don't understand at all. Let's flip it on the other side. So this is for your coolant temperature, and you have a thing saying unit. Ignition is your live, of course, and you have a ground. What you need to do, desolder all three. I'll show you the fuel side so that you know how the things look when it's desoldered. So these are those three pins on the fuel side. This is your unit, your ground, and your ignition. So you need to desolder these very carefully. I've got a Milwaukee soldering iron here. It's very good for this job. You need to have a very steady hand. What you need to do is you desolder the pins one by one. Alright, and you need to wedge it with a small screwdriver like I have underneath. These, but be careful, be very careful not to pull this too much. I'll explain why. Because your ground and your live have very thin wire of the coil. You can see that green. I hope you can see that. That is wound around the terminal. So if you pull it, this terminal will start coming out of its housing, and it will snap that very thin thread, and you'll damage it. So what you need to do, desolder it very slow. Desolder this, then desolder this, then desolder this. Do them all three together and pull it slowly so that this thing comes out. Same goes for your engine coolant thingy. It has a cover like this. You need to get this cover off. Get some snips. I have my snips here. I can't find them. I'm sorry. But you get some snips, and you need to undo these rounds. This plastic holds this casing. When you undo these with a knife or with some snips, this will come off and you'll see this underneath. And after desoldering, it will be here. Now, reason we are doing this, the signal wire is desoldered from the board, and you don't resolder it on the board again. What you do is you solder a separate wire to it so that it takes the feed from your original wiring through this wire, not from the PCB. So it only has the power from the board and signal from this cable, not from the board, because in this generation it is the ECU that sends the signal. But here on our Civic, the older one, we need to give it signal manually from our harness. And now why did we desolder all this? It's because the polarity on these magnets on this motor this is an electromagnet, honestly, it's reverse. So when you will give it signal, you will see instead of going from cool to hot, it comes from hot to cool. So it's all inverse. So what you need to do is desolder ignition, ground and unit, and then flip the motor, flip this magnet, this unit side on the coolant temperature side. Let's get this out of the way. It was on this side, you can see the unit, but I have flipped the electromagnet, now it's on that side. Same needs doing for this. So when you will flip it, your ground will go to your ignition side will go to your ground, and the unit will be here on the fuel level sensor. So happy days for this. This is how you prep your PCB. Once you have done all this, we will go in the car and I'll show you all the wires I have traced, what goes where, and this will be sorted. Cheers, see you in the next one.